tell you Bay Area housing prices are so expensive because we are the most over-regulated home building area in the country. And with the time delays and the expense and the lack of availability due to these regulations that make it impossible to build, it just makes what we do get done that much more expensive. I think if I could wave my wand and change one California housing policy, it would hands down have to be CEQA. It's old, outdated, and it has become one of the most incredible areas that create this overregulation that I can think. I think the biggest misconception that area leaders have about building housing really is the relative impacts of costs and how impact fees and these regulations do affect the price of housing. And it's not one of those things that we can just absorb it. We actually do have to pass those costs on to the home builders or the home buyers, and sometimes that is possible because of the market, and other times it's not, and so housing doesn't get built. And the fact that they think that there's so much profit in these things and that we can just absorb it all, and obviously we know for a lot of reasons that that isn't true. So I think that's probably one of the biggest problems that the policymakers have in evaluating decisions that have such a large impact on our industry. I think the biggest misconception that the public has about home building is very similar to our public leaders, and that is that because of the cost of the housing, that there's this gouging effect or overcharging by developers. And in fact, in today's day and age in the development community, the margins that we work on, just like many other businesses in the business environment, are working on much thinner margins for the risk and the reward aspects of what we do, because we know that we can't pass it on, and so we have to keep working harder and harder for less and less, and the risks keep getting greater and greater. But the overall public perception is that we're overcharging for the product, and in fact that's contrary to what we want to do. We want to build more affordable housing for all, and we want to be able to keep our costs down and deliver a quality product for a good price, and that is a very big challenge for all of us. Like anything, it's a supply-oriented economic question. If we can supply more housing, there would be less competition, and therefore the pricing would be more competitive. And in fact, when we build less housing, obviously it's more expensive to develop, and we have to be able to charge more in order to do it. So it is an oxymoron, it is a contradiction, but I think it's a combination of a quality of life issue where people that are already here and have housing don't like the congestion, they don't like the impacts, and because we're trying to consolidate everything, they don't want any more. And then they turn around and they decide that their children and grandchildren need to live where they live, and they can't afford it. So then we have this problem that creates more regulation based on other regulation. And so it is a vicious circle that we're really struggling with answers.